Welcome to my review of the LEGO Star Wars Summer 2025 Battle of FELUCIA MTT. I cannot believe they finally made a full-size Clone Wars version of the MTT. It's insane. It's at 75435 with 976 pieces for a retail price of $160. That is definitely going to be too high, as we'll find out in this review. You've got 2 minifigs and 10 total droids. 10 will never feel like enough, given 2007 included 20. I gotta say, the box art on this one just feels awesome. It gives late 2000s, early 2010s Clone Wars vibes to me. My favorite part, though, has to be looking around at all of the droids to see what they're doing. Just some interesting stuff going on. Very funny. Now, the back of the box, as usual, is highlighting some of the features, but I don't think it conveys just how cool the functionality of the battle droid rack in this set is, so I'm really stoked to show that to you guys. Anyways, cutting into and unboxing this one, you're going to find a sticker sheet, a very normal LEGO instruction manual, and bags numbered 1 through 8. So let's take a look at our minifigs. Ayla here is a really good looking fig with a nice deep blue color to her. She's got a lot of accurate details to what we see in Revenge of the Sith and the Clone Wars. I really like the texture on her clothing, both front and back. I think that's something they did exceptionally well on this particular version of Ayla. She's got that indentation to make her look skinnier than a male character would be, got a couple of facial expressions, and of course the head tail piece is such a great piece with the printing that goes all the way around it. So you've got all these great aspects about the minifig, and it's generally upgraded from 2017's version of this character. And then there's a couple of things that they just made worse, and the most noticeable has to be the color of her lips, and I cannot believe I have to talk about this in a LEGO review. I don't want to talk about the color of Ayla's lips. It's not something I've ever given any thought to ever, until they went and changed it from pink to like a salmon color, when if you look at the Clone Wars or in Revenge of the Sith or like the movie character photo shoots, like her lips are just pink. That's just the color they are, and LEGO, for whatever reason, has decided, no, we can't have pink lips on Ayla Secura, I guess. I think they green M&M'd Ayla Secura, just like they green M&M'd Slave Leia. Next, we have the long-awaited, much-requested Phase 2 Commander Bly, and you wouldn't believe it, LEGO Star Wars has once again dropped the ball on a clone trooper. Starting with the helmet, the mold works perfect for this one, as he's using the macro binoculars, so you can move them up or down to cover the eyes. The darker tan print there is a good color, but the shape on the top of the helmet should be a much thinner line, much like we saw back in 2005, so not really sure why we can't do that here. There should also be a gap in the printing between the top of the eyes and the black line. Again, something we had correct 20 years ago and is now just wrong. For some reason, they made his cheeks gray when they should be yellow. We're talking pre-K coloring book skills here, and they can't even do it. I'm so over it. I'm crashing out. I don't care. Underneath the helmet, you've got the normal clone trooper face. Now, he is making use of the new pauldron piece, which I talked about more in depth in my review of the 327th Battle Pack, so check that out if you want more on my thoughts of it. But it is a nice upgrade to the cloth pauldron pieces that we have seen in the past. It's got a great print, is durable, and allows for plenty of motion. My only nitpick on it is that it doesn't extend all the way to the other shoulder to line up with the black print of the pauldron on him. Definitely feels like a slight oversight to me, but I still see the piece as a massive upgrade to the oversized cloth that we had in the past. Getting down to his torso, of course, we've got the 2 ammo pouches instead of 3. Again, this is a detail that they did properly back in 2005 on 327 Troopers / Commander Bly, or whatever this guy is. Always a big L to me to have a less accurate detail than on something we had 20 years ago. Now, the yellow stripe on his torso is there, but it is actually the wrong color. It is supposed to be the darker tan to match his helmet. Again, just why are we getting this wrong? I feel like such a broken record. I mean, it's been 4 years or so of this, and it just keeps happening. At some point, you gotta find someone new to do the job, I think. I'm serious. This is so tiring. And don't worry, there's more, because on the bottom of his torso, all 7 of those sections are supposed to be yellow, not just the 4 that are. And I had thought they just took the 327th Trooper torso and reused it here, but no, you'll notice there is more yellow on the larger pouches on his torso. Also, the wear markings on him are a little bit different, so like some level of effort was put in to make this torso different from the standard 327th Trooper, but not the extra 30 seconds to just get the 2 colors right, and I don't understand it at all. The arms are all yellow, which is fine. I'm sure a lot of people would prefer them be printed with detail like Captain Rex and a $13 set, but you know, this is only a $160 set, so why would it get arm printing? It is in line with what they've done with some of the other commanders like Cody and the $140 ATT, but yeah, I don't know, arm printing would be nice, certainly. And that brings us down to his legs, where they were shockingly bothered to get the detail correct for his knee pads and the area above that on his legs being yellow, and of course, with that no waist cape, you're gonna have to get a replacement waist cape. I sell them on MandRshop.com, but it also sucks that you have to buy one to begin with. It should be included with the set. The waist cape definitely makes the figure feel less top heavy, but it still doesn't fix the other accuracy issues that are basic. Like a third grader could have gotten these simple color things right. It's like, what color is that? Oh, that's supposed to be yellow, not gray. What color is that? It's supposed to be dark tan, not bright yellow. It's that simple. It's why I don't understand. It's not super complex like designing the mechanism on the MTT. That took them years and many iterations of trial and error that got it to be as good as you're going to see in this set. This is just basic, and they get it wrong every single time, and I'm so over it. Commander Bly, 0 out of 10. That's a slight exaggeration, but the Slop Trooper era has unfortunately claimed another clone. Maybe we'll get a better version in 20 years. It sucks to say it that way, but maybe in 20 years. Next, we've got our Battle Droid Pilot. This one is exactly the same as we saw in the Droid Carrier from 2024. Great looking figure. Obviously going to be perfect to place in the MTT to have him drive it. We've got 6 standard Battle Droids here. There's really nothing to say about them, but 6 is the number included, and that feels a bit low for an MTT. Finally, we have 3 Commando Droids in the set, and before I talk about the color, just the detail on them, like the print design, looks really good. Really accurate to what we see in the Clone Wars, but the color has been a point of controversy, and in my opinion, it shouldn't be. It is simply brown. If you look in any good lighting in the Clone Wars, it's brown. If you want to say these are supposed to be based on Battlefront, once again, if you look in any good lighting, they are clearly brown. It's one of those things where if LEGO made them brown again, no one would have ever said anything. Frankly, I would have loved to see these replaced with a Wat Tambor, who we see in conjunction with the Clone Wars MTT in Season 1. That would have been amazing to me, and, you know, we can get Commando Droids elsewhere. Wat Tambor feels a little more selective on where he could show up. That's probably my biggest what if as far as the minifigs for this set go. Anyway, those are all your minifigs. It's time to look at the Separatist MTT. I have to start by addressing the biggest downside on the MTT, and that would be its size. It is the smallest MTT that we have ever had, and that does include the one from 2000 that was made of 2x4 bricks. It may be a bit prettier than that, but it's still smaller, and I was just shocked that this MTT didn't at least get bigger than the 2014 one. I figured it had to be at $160, but it's just not, and it's shocking when you look at the inflation-adjusted numbers, just how overpriced this MTT is compared to all of the other versions. It is the same price adjusted for inflation as the 2007 version, which is absolutely massive. You know what else is massive? Not the Clone Turbo Tank, but this MTT is still smaller than the Clone Turbo Tank. This is by far the worst value for money MTT that we've ever had, and I think it's pretty clear that LEGO has jacked the price up on this one because they think fans will buy it anyway, and that fans have wanted it for so long that they'll pay anything. And so keep this in mind when you're going to sleep at night or if you're considering buying the set. I'll be doing a full comparison video of the MTTs on my channel, so I'm not going to go more in depth here, but you can tell the MTT is tiny, especially in relation to the price they are asking. Now, I look at this MTT kind of the same way I look at the Summer 2025 Turbo Tank. It is way too small, way too overpriced, but it definitely got the proportions correct everywhere on the MTT except for these cannons. We'll get to that. But everything else about this is really good as far as the shaping is concerned. There's a slight taper to the back of the top of the MTT. That's accurate. You've got perfect shaping on top here. The coloring, like the actual blue lines on this thing, are incredible if you compare it to what we see in Universe. For brickwork at this scale, I think they've done such a fantastic job. Like even the shaping down here with the coloring of blue and gray, like they've mixed it in super nicely, and using like panels that are kind of hanging here, so they're all just attached on hinges, gives the MTT just that little angle that looks so nice. Like really, the coloring and shaping on this is a big selling point to me. It's certainly something they did very well. Looking a little bit closer at some of these details, you've got this giant printed plate on the front, looks amazing, and again, not a sticker, so the color is just perfect on it. Unfortunately, the color is horrible on the other stickers in this set. You've got like the Separatist logo on the side here, and the gray is not even close to matching. I mean, come on, LEGO, what are we doing? Just print it. Frankly, just print it. You're overcharging this set by $40 at least, and you can't print pieces, and then even when you're not printing them, you can't get the sticker color to match. We see the same issue repeated with the droid eyes on top. Like, the design is nice, but how can you not color match stickers? It's 2025. We used to do this just fine. Staying up near the droid eyes, we'll get into our first feature on the MTT, and it's that this whole top section is removable, and then you've got these side panels that drop down, giving you fantastic easy access to the pilot seat. There's a stickered panel on the inside, I assume showing the position of some troops. Right behind the seating area is a place for the weapon for your battle droid pilot, and then you take your actual pilot and just sit him in the seat. Rather large seating area there. On the box, it actually shows him sitting upright in the seat, taking our top piece and attaching it on. You didn't see it, but he did fall right on down. You can't actually have him sit straight up. That's crazy. You'd think the biggest droid vehicle would be capable of allowing a pilot to sit straight up, but no, even this one requires a pillow and a blanket because he has to lay down just like that. That's how he fits. How absurd is that? Boy, how far have we fallen. It's a little better off than the sets with the transparent windscreens where you can see the minifig laying down, but it's still sad that a battle droid can't sit up straight. Next, we've got a pair of stud shooters, and they are unfortunately kind of front and center here. They definitely detract from the look on this. I do wish they, or maybe some spring-loaded shooters, something was a more hidden function than this, like they did in 2014. They were like literally hidden inside of the panels, but maybe there just wasn't enough space on this one because of how small it is. Looking even lower on the MTT, we have my least favorite part of the design, and that's the main cannons. They are just way too short and stubby. You can see just these tiny little things. It's really sad. They should be probably twice or maybe close to 3 times the length, but at least twice the length, right? They are way too short and stubby, and it's really the only thing off about the proportions on the build, I would say. Another not great looking part, I would say, is the bottom door for where the troop rack is going to come out, and mostly I say that because it just has a lot of texture to it and then the gaps, so I don't really like that much. Now, on the previous 2 turbo tanks, there was some sort of knob integrated into the side of the MTT here, and it's also, again, not on this side, but it does make for a really clean design here, but they've moved that. It's now on the top of the MTT. It kind of looks like a canister or maybe an exhaust port, so it's kind of well camouflaged. It still sticks out a little bit, I'd say, just like the ones on the side used to stick out, but it's well camouflaged, so we'll give it that. But this is what you're going to have to spin counterclockwise to allow your troops to drop out of the MTT. This is one of, if not the best function on a LEGO Star Wars set of all time. So we are just going to twist the knob on the back. Out comes the droid rack, and then it also drops down and deploys your battle droids into battle. That is insane. That's as cool as it's going to get. It's never going to get better. What a crazy function. I just wish it was on a bigger MTT so you could have more droids on the rack. We'll get to that, though. But you can also retract it into the MTT, and with the previous MTTs, you were able to retract it just like this. But with this one does that special, it also closes the doors for you. You used to have to manually close them. Look at this. Oh my goodness. This is just the coolest play feature ever. And, you know, I'm just doing it a bunch of times here to show that even over time, it's not going to fail or mess up. The doors never, ever catch the wrong way. So you never end up with this inside of the other door unless you do what I just did and pushed it, right? But through normal use, it's going to close properly every time. I could do this all day. It's so cool. This is the best. So here you probably get a really good idea of why those cannons are as small as they are, and it's because otherwise they're going to block your access to the battle droids. I mean, they already partly do block your access to the battle droids, but also I think, you know, you probably have to move this out of your way anyway to get to here, so why not have just made these look better, you know, and then tell people to move them out of the way to get to the battle droids, because you're already downsizing and all that, but you pull your droids off one by one. They're just attached with a stud at the back. So I do think they could have made that a bit of a stronger connection using some sort of piece like that, right, where it actually would go into the hole. Like, imagine that as part of this mechanism, because these can twist a little bit easy and fall off a little easy in some cases, but they fold up in just such a cool way. Like, look at that. It's so amazing. I couldn't believe that they were actually able to do this. It's kind of the dream function on an MTT to have it work like that. So there it is now, empty. And just to show it, this is what it looks like retracting when it's empty, and then we will deploy it again when it's empty. You'll notice the things don't like flop out to the side when it's empty, so it just drops down and stays flat. You have to attach your battle droids to get it to do that. So you can easily modify this to hold 8 battle droids, though I suspect the reason LEGO didn't do this is that the battle droid, due to its hand, is slightly wider than one brick, and so when they're this tight together, they can interfere with one another and knock each other off. So the reasoning they didn't do it seems sound, and frankly, it's cool regardless of whether it has 6 or 8 on there. That was the killer feature on the MTT, but it still has more going on throughout the rest of the body. So each of the panels can be lifted away, and again, as explained earlier, they allow for such a great design, but they also allow for really easy access to the interior of the MTT here. So you can see your droid rack there, and I'll show you what that looks like. Just like that. You can see kind of the mechanism in there. So that's really cool if you ever wanted to see that. But as far as this goes, this is more to me of like a maintenance hatch. If you need to fix something in there or get a droid out that might have fallen off, it really doesn't have anything going on inside as far as what you can use when you open this hatch. The hatch at the back is a bit of a different story because this is where you're going to find your weapons storage as well as a stap, kind of dark in there. Just to show you, you can lift the panels on all sides of the MTT, but to make it easier for me to access this back section, we'll put that that one down. And so this one actually comes up and down at the back, and it kind of drops down like you're going to have troops walk out of it, or maybe some sort of troop carrier slide out of it, but that is not going to be the case because inside of here is your stap. I took the panels off the sides so we can get some ideal lighting, but the stap is just laid inside here between these two red pieces that kind of keep it from wiggling around too much, but it's still easy to lift out. It looks like this red piece on the bottom might be holding this in place or something, but it's actually not. It just slides forward when you deploy the droid rack, so that's just something that's going to move independent of what's going on here. But yeah, the stap is easy to remove, just like that. Comes out the top. The stap design here is simple and nice. It's got that clear piece on the bottom that's going to give it good stability if you want to place it on the ground. My biggest gripe, I would say, is the fact that they don't put the lightsaber pieces on the end. That is what they did in 2024, but the reason it is the way it is so that it can actually fit inside of the MTT, so just kind of like the MTT's guns, it's short and stubby. It's just not going to fit if you have the lightsabers on there, unfortunately. There are some slightly updated design aspects on this as well, with like the area for the feet, and this little gray piece here is a little bit of a smoother section. It's a stap and it'll get the job done for a lot of people, but it's definitely not the best version they could have made given the compromises they had to make. Speaking of compromises, the weapons rack certainly feels like one. They used to just include a weapons rack that you could put the weapons on. It was cool. And now they're literally just putting it onto the skeleton of the MTT because there's no other way to do it. It's crazy just because of how small this set is, what we've lost. And while I had everything opened up, I wanted to give you one more insight into how that mechanism at the front works as this piece just pushes everything along. And while I've got this MTT stripped down here, you can see the wheels, very large wheels at the back. And then on the underside, there's actually a couple of just simple gray wheels. So it's kind of interesting. They went with different wheels in different places. I don't know what the reason for that is. Like, you'd think they'd just use this wheel everywhere. Maybe this wheel allows you to spin the backside a little bit easier, and that's why they did it. It doesn't affect anything else as far as I'm aware. The MTT still slides along very well. It was just interesting to me that they use different wheels in different places. So to me, this is a $120 set that they priced at $160 because they know people want a Clone Wars style MTT, and they know people have wanted Commander Bly, even though they won't put in the bare minimum effort to make Commander Bly actually accurate or put in the waist cape, but they definitely are charging a premium for having those things, even though those things don't feel premium. I mean, the stickers being the wrong color doesn't make it feel like this is going to be worth $160, right? There's little things like that that LEGO could do that if they were perfect, it'd be a little easier to defend some of the pricing here. Or maybe if they included a really cool figure like Wat Tambor that would go with a Separatist set, right? But I still think the figure selection on paper seems really cool. It's just like, you know, wrong color commando droids, Ayla Secura with the wrong color lips for no reason. All of these things add up on top of the fact that this is outrageously priced to be a pretty easy one to not buy for $160. I think, unlike the Turbo Tank, you probably should end up with this because they probably won't remake a Separatist MTT at some point. There will be a day where they make another Clone Turbo Tank. A Clone Wars colored MTT, probably not. But I would not pay $1 over $120 for this, so that means the 20% off sale still is not going to be cheap enough. You have to wait for this to probably hit clearance or a Black Friday discount to be worth buying. I still like a lot of what they did here, and I'm frankly just so amazed by that troop deployment function. It is so cool in this set. So if anything's worth $160, it's the fact that it can release battle droids like this. Like, that is way better than anything we've ever seen before. But ultimately, this is a no buy at anything over $120 in my opinion. Let me know what you think about this one down in the comments section below. If you enjoyed, hit the like button, and you can check out more LEGO Star Wars Summer 2025 set reviews on the end screen now.